Friendly fire. A police constable falls on the job due to a colleague's bullet. Good evening and thanks for joining us for Primetime News. A special welcome to viewers on televisionjamaica.com. I'm Michael Shah.
And I'm Doreen Samuels. Also this evening, the JLP refutes talk that Shahini Robinson is still not qualified to run for North East St. Anne.
The party promises court action against the PNP Sharon Hay Webster and Ian Hales.
And the Contractor General seeks answers about the Sunday Herald's Sandals White House report.
We'll also have international stories, sports and weather, but first the feedback question. Should Shahini Robinson repay the salary she earned while unlawfully sitting in Gordon House? Text the letters TVJ, leave a space, then write Y for yes or N for no to 444-2404. That's 444-2404.
Stay with us. Primetime News returns after this break.
Welcome back to Primetime News. A police constable was killed today while on the job, and it's suspected that he was shot by one of his colleagues. The policeman has been identified as Floyd Barrett of the Motorized Division.
Constable Barrett and his colleague were investigating reports of suspicious happenings in a yard on Lady Musgrave Avenue in Kingston when it happened. Kirk Wright reports.
Constable Barrett and his colleague went to number 3 Lady Musgrave Avenue to find a man who police control said had entered this house. Someone fired a shot which caught him in the left arm. It's highly suspected that the fatal bullet came from his colleague's firearm.
It appears from all indication that it is a blown blue situation, but we're investigating. We want to find out exactly what happened.
As expected, the death of Constable Barrett dealt a hard blow to his colleagues at the police motorized division where he was stationed. And that's why the police commissioner went there just after the incident.
I'm sharing in their grief. They lost a colleague and a friend. Just to remind them of the dangers of working in the crime and security environment that we have to deal with. And just to let them know that whilst they are expected to process their grief, but the public continues to depend on them for security and protection. So we want them to get out there and continue with the job.
It was just this morning that Constable Barrett was a part of a similar parade to the one behind me. And the officer who did the briefing told me that he stressed on safety this morning while speaking to them. Sub-Officer Beckford was the person who delivered that particular message this morning.
I was emphasizing to the men when I was sending them out the need to be safe. And it is a silly season now coming to Christmas. And they have to be careful. And with all of that, this tragedy took place today.
Other policemen and women watched as Constable Barrett's blood was wiped from the car he was in. Inspector Beckford said police personnel must always be reminded that the job carries certain risks, so safety comes first.
You have to make up your mind, and because you can encounter just about anything on the job. Your family, loved ones, left behind, but it's a sad day, and I know most of my colleagues and colleagues of Constable Barrett, very sad.
Chairman of the Police Federation, Raymond Wilson, says it's a sad day for the police force and bemoan the long hours officers have to work.
We're not able to comment on the correlation in this particular case. What we can say as a fact that we have concerns about the length of hours. We have concern about the overwork situation. We have concern about many things, but we are not able to put together the relationship between a situation of overwork and the death of our colleagues.
Kirk Wright, TVJ News.
The Jamaica Labour Party today presented documents to prove that its candidate in the North East St. Anne by-election, Shahini Robinson, was qualified to enter the race. The matter has occupied public talk for some time, and today party officials sought to put it to rest at an emergency press briefing. Here's Archibald Gordon.
JLP officials invited the media here to party headquarters at Belmont Road in New Kingston, where they presented a flurry of documents intended to prove that Shahini Robinson had in fact been legally nominated to contest the December 20 by-election in northeastern Tan.
We have a signed copy of her oath of renunciation of the nationality of the United States, and we also have the certificate of loss of nationality of the United States.
It was the new General Secretary's response to detractors who've insisted the party present the proof. But the move brought more questions when he revealed that Mrs. Robinson sought the certificate of renunciation on September 23 and got approval on October 19. Why had the party waited this long to present the evidence?
So I went to Shahini and I said to her, she said no one has asked her.
Mr. Mears nor Mr. Stern didn't have a press conference to produce theirs? Yeah, they didn't. Do you accept that this is an important issue? I agree, but I'm just...
Can I ask a very basic question? Have I done something wrong this morning in producing the certificate? No, because there's something here you're failing to understand, a basic point. I took a proactive step to satisfy all concerns and to satisfy myself as General Secretary.
The JLP General Secretary was equally dismissive of claims by the president of the Marcus Garvey-founded People's Progressive Party, which has nominated Devon Evans to contest the by-election. PPP President Miguel Lorne has said Mrs. Robinson needs to reapply for Jamaican citizenship, which he says she must have renounced to become a naturalized American. But today the JLP General Secretary waived the Jamaican Constitution and quoted,
"No person who is a citizen of Jamaica by virtue of Section 31A, that is the birth certificate, shall be deprived of his citizenship of Jamaica."
He also had to face questions about the appropriateness of Mrs. Robinson standing as a candidate, after having insisted that she was not an American citizen, then later declaring that she got bad legal advice and thought she had renounced her U.S. citizenship by handing in her U.S. passport. It spawned claims that she perjured herself in court.
Miss Shahini Robinson has paid her dues. Let us not be the Court of Appeal or the Supreme Court here. She has done everything within the laws of our land. She has been an excellent member of Parliament, and the Jamaica Labour Party consider it an honor to have her return as our member of Parliament.
Archibald Gordon, TVJ News.
Meanwhile, the JLP today promised to file an application against South Central St. Catherine MP Sharon Hay-Webster, seeking her removal from Gordon House. This morning, JLP General Secretary Andre Franklin showed journalists an application he said would be filed in the Supreme Court by midday. But at the end of the business day, the attorney representing the party in the matter said the papers had not been filed. In the meantime, the JLP says it is not moved by the case presented by West Hanover MP Ian Hales. Last week, Mr. Hales insisted he was not a dual citizen because he had renounced his American citizenship. But today, the JLP said it would be going after Mr. Hales as well.
Ian Hales matter, whatever. You know that there is still some legal proceedings that are going on. We are actually going to be making a statement in the next few weeks regarding the Ian Hales matter. But it is something that we are pursuing, and it is something that we think we need to move on. So we are aware. We have heard Mr. Hales speak, as is typical of him, but we're going to have an answer within the next few weeks as to how we're going to specifically move forward on the matter.
The Deputy General Secretary also insisted that the party has not dragged its feet on the matter. He pointed out that aspects of the case are still the subject of deliberations by the courts.
That is something that has been going on for some time. So I don't think it's quite fair to say that nothing has happened. There have been a few appeals, there have been a few judgments, but the matter is being pursued and will continue to be pursued. What we want is very clear. We want a by-election in West Hanover, and we're going to work hard to get it.
And the JLP General Secretary today suggested that he's not averse to the idea that people who were strangers in Gordon House be asked to pay back monies earned during their tenure. The term stranger is used in the standing orders of the House of Representatives. It refers to persons who are not members of Gordon House. Some people have argued that it could be the case of Mrs. Robinson and other persons who are being paid as MPs even though they were not qualified to sit in the House. Today, Mr. Franklin was asked to respond to the notion that the government should seek to recover funds from such persons.
The rules of law pertaining to our country must be adhered by all persons.
So is it then that you would encourage the Attorney General to sue on behalf to recover all the monies in all the cases?
The rules are to be observed by all.
Those rules will apply to Mrs. Robinson?
All members of Parliament.
In the past, Prime Minister Bruce Golding has dismissed the idea of such persons paying back the sums earned while sitting in the House as dual citizens. He's pointed out that many such persons didn't know they were breaching the law, as well as the difficulty of recovering the sums from now retired MPs.
The Sandals White House Hotel is back in the news again following a Sunday Herald article claiming negotiations are in progress to divest the hotel. The Office of Contractor General is seeking answers on the matter. Rowan Powell reports.
The Office of the Contractor General, OCG, has taken note of the article published in the December 12 edition of the Sunday Herald and has written to Cabinet Secretary Douglas Saunders for clarity. The lead story in the latest publication, Secret Talks, Butch Goes After Sandals White House, alleges that businessman R. Danny Williams is secretly leading negotiations for hotelier Gordon Butch Stewart to acquire the property from the government. But the OCG is making sure it will not be left out of the process. Citing Section 4, Subsection 1 of the Contractor General Act, the OCG has asserted its role to monitor the divestment of GOJ assets. With that in mind, the OCG has asked the Cabinet Secretary to provide documented answers to whether the government held discussions with the Sandals Hotel chain or any other private investor regarding the divestment. And if such discussions have been had, the OCG wants the Cabinet Secretary to satisfy with documentation the ownership structure of Sandals White House, government's policy regarding ownership, whether the government contracted, employed, or engaged the services of any other person or entity in the last 2 years in connection with its attempts to divest its interest in Sandals White House, along with the most recent valuation of Sandals White House. The OCG also wants the Cabinet Secretary to provide executive summaries on the outcome of litigation which was brought by Gorstu Limited, Butch Stewart's company, against the government, and the outcome of the arbitration of the dispute and the government's on settlement. The OCG has given the Cabinet Secretary until December 29 to provide the requested information. Sandals White House opened in 2005 but was marred by cost overruns of over $40 million. The project involved the government and 3 other parties, including Gorstu Limited. Rohan Powell, TVJ News.
A St. Thomas magistrate has again denied a bail application made by lawyers for St. Thomas JLP activist Keon Treasure Campbell. Mr. Campbell was taken into custody 2 weeks ago for allegedly violating bail conditions associated with a conspiracy to murder charge. When the matter came up for mention in court today, the magistrate said he would render a decision on Wednesday. At that time, investigators are expected to complete their due diligence on a second address furnished by Mr. Campbell. He was charged last year with conspiracy to murder Ian Johnson, the man who has made damning allegations against West St. Thomas Member of Parliament and Energy Minister James Robertson. The police said he violated his bail condition by not reporting to the Halfway Tree police station since August, and that they have not been able to verify the address Mr. Campbell gave investigators. Prior to his latest arrest, Treasure Campbell was brought on stage by James Robertson during the JLP's annual conference last month to vouch for his character against the allegations made by Ian Johnson.